They came over to my host parents' house. We talked. It wasn't like they didn't share a message or anything. It was just like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm so-and-so. I'm elder so-and-so. It was just like an introduction. And the second they left, my host mom came up to me and said, Caleb, if those guys ever come here again, or if you ever see those guys again, we will send you back home. Hello guys, welcome back to Saints Unscripted. I am your former host, Caleb, and I'm back. Just for this episode.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
We're really glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Is this your first time on this set?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
You
crazy.
left before that. Much comfier.
Yes.
Yes.
And much more space too, because I remember that little table and we're all like shoulder to shoulder and
Oh my gosh. We're getting like up close.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a good time.
But yeah, we got couches now. It's so spacious.
So, Caleb, what have you been doing?
Yeah, so
And how long has it been?
it's been
What, a year?
About a year, yeah. Almost 2.
Since you've been on the show? 2?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
no
been about 2 years.
way. That went by
Because
really
I used to be in the show. I was about here for about a year, and then I got a job offer in South Carolina, and
Oh
so
yeah, that's why you left. You moved.
yeah, I went there for about a year.
He wasn't fired.
No, I wasn't fired.
It
And
was all in good terms.
the job, I got to a point where I couldn't progress anymore until I had a college degree. So came back to Utah to get my college degree, and now I'm here.
You thought you were going to be able to just pass college by, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, just go
So
to the
sorry.
top, but it's not realistic, I guess.
Yeah.
Where are you studying right now?
I'm studying political science.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then after that, I'm going to get a law degree.
Oh, you're going to go
So,
into law?
Yeah, I'm here for a good 6 years.
Yep,
maybe
here to
even more.
stay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I guess you being a lawyer, you'd be good at it.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
You guys may, if you've been around, you probably know that sometimes the hosts like share their own conversion stories too. And we've kind of had a few videos where we just one of us is just talking about our story.
All alone.
I know, so alone. But those are always interesting. But
Caitlin's is good. Watch it.
Caleb hasn't done one, and we're like, hey, this is the perfect time to like get to know your conversion story. Because we didn't really do that. I don't think you did as a host, or like it didn't.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a chance or a video to express it or share it, I guess.
Cool.
So we're going to learn more about you today.
And I bet it's even a little different than it was.
Yeah.
Because it never stops, right?
Yes.
That's true.
It's my life's been a roller coaster. Like I like to compare it to like that ancient like Greek phrase where it's like a story is either a comedy or a tragedy. I'm pretty sure I'm in the tragedy camp.
Oh, no.
It's just been nuts. Yeah. So if you guys don't know, I was born and raised in Melbourne, Australia. Lived there for 17 years. But in the middle of that, I was fortunate enough to do a student exchange in France. So I spent 6 months there. I was born in the church. And so in France, I didn't have any connection to the church. So my dad reached out to the mission president and he sent 2 missionaries to come see me like once a month, just to check in on me. So I had that connection to the gospel
really?
still.
Wow.
The first time it happened, they came over to my host parents' house and we talked. It wasn't like they didn't share a message or anything. It was just like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm so-and-so. I'm elder so-and-so. I'm from America. I'm from here, whatever. It was just like an introduction. And the second they left, my host mom came up to me and said, Caleb, if those guys ever come here again, or if you ever see those guys again, we will send you back home. We will kick you
kidding?
out.
My gosh.
For
Yeah.
real?
That's so rude.
No reason. Like they were Catholic and
They
they
weren't trying to do anything to that family, right?
No, because like they I talked to them before. I was like, hey, I've got these people who are part of my church. They come in, totally fine with it. But the second they left, she was like, we will send you back home if you ever see those guys again.
Wow.
And I was like,
Talk about not respecting someone's religion.
crap.
Jeez.
I'm like a wee little 14-year-old boy.
I know, like, what do you even do? You're like,
And so
I don't want to go home.
what I did was, this is a very small town of like 2,000 people. The missionaries would text me like, hey, can we meet up again? And I told them the situation. And so what I would do is I would lie to my host mom and I would be like, hey, can I go to the skate park? And just like, cause I was like the local place where all the kids like would hang out and whatnot. And she'd always be like, yeah, for sure. Yeah, just come back before it gets dark and whatnot. I would go to the skate park and then I'd walk just a little further down the street to like the shops. and that's where the missionaries would be. And so we would like sit down at like a booth, like just one like a table outside, and we'd just talk for like an hour or two, share a lesson, talk about the gospel, just all that stuff.
Oh,
That's the thing about kids is that if they want to do something, they're gonna find a way, whether
Yeah.
it's good or bad. And in this case, it was good, so that's good.
And yeah, so I found a way.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I just graduated high school. I still didn't really have like a testimony. Like I've been a part of the church my whole life. It's just kind of a thing I would go on Sunday, good community, good group of friends. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go on a mission. But I have like 8 months before I'm 18. I finished my papers. I was kind of in limbo right now. And my plan was go on a mission, move to Utah, go to BYU, and then just happy days, see where that takes me. I moved to the States March like 18, 2020.
So before you had your mission call.
Yes, before I had my mission goal. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna, for that 8 months of just kill time, just go to the States, check it out, and then go back to Australia, go on my mission, and just jump back and forth. Yeah, so I moved to the States March 18, 2020.
Significant date.
March 18th,
Yeah.
March 18th, 2020?
Yes.
Was that like the week before COVID?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't
What
realize
are
it was
the
that
odds?
close.
Like, yeah, literally like the week before the world shut down. And so I was here in Utah all alone by myself, no family. Like I had friends, but like no family. And I go, okay, I'll just wait out until lockdowns end or
Hmm.
restrictions ease.
It'll just be 2 weeks.
And it'll just be 2 weeks.
So we thought.
3 months later, my prime minister says we're going to keep the lockdown just a little further.
Yeah, in Australia.
And then that 3 months later turned into 8 months, and that 8 months turned into a year. And then by like the 5-month mark, I realized I don't think I'm going home.
Mm.
And my mission papers are stuck home, so we're trying to figure that out. But we couldn't, for some reason, get it through because the churches were shut down back home, and everything was just.
It was
Oh.
actual paper.
It was online, but we
Oh.
couldn't like access.
Oh,
for
right,
it.
right. Okay. Yeah.
And so that time where I was just like locked down, I couldn't go home, I couldn't do anything. I just walked to the temple. Like I was in Provo where we have 2 temples in somewhat of walking distance. I didn't have a car, so I made it walking distance. And I would just go there on my days where I wasn't doing anything, just read the scriptures, just study. I spent a lot of time, and that's really where my testimony grew. Like it just exploded. And then not to mention, if you guys have been long listeners or watchers of the show, you know about I used to have a TikTok account. And so I got involved in that also around that same time that I moved here.
Mhm.
And so not only I had a big group of friends that were LDS, and not only was I going to the temple, like the temple grounds every day, I was just immersed in the scriptures. Like literally everything I did was gospel based.
Almost like a mission.
Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And like funny you say that because I've baptized a couple of people. I've done like literally everything that a missionary's done, just without the badge. And so that's kind of like how I just like made myself feel good in my head. I was like, well, I'm doing this. I'm preaching the gospel to people who are curious. I'm baptizing people. I'm doing all the stuff that missionaries do. So maybe this is okay. It eases my mind. And then yeah, so it was just just a crazy, just like I would plan something, and then that plan would ultimately just crumble and fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
But I just got back up and I just kept marching forward. Like the one scripture, and it's a very, very common one, is like 1 Nephi 3:7. Like I will go and do like everything bad that's happened in my life. I know it's A, I can get through it, and B, there's a reason for it. And I mean, I'm still learning this lesson today about patience. Like
Yeah.
so much stuff has happened since I left Saints Unscripted, since I joined Saints Unscripted. And only like months or years after is when I realized like, oh, that bad thing that I really wanted that didn't happen, there was a reason why it didn't happen. It would have like screwed my life up, or it would have like something bad would have happened if I were to take that path. So
Yeah, I think that shows a lot of grit that you just because COVID was just really hard for
Yeah.
everyone, and like on a mental health level too. Like the fact that you just decided to walk to the temple and like immerse in the scriptures
Mm-hmm.
and surround yourself with good friends. Like
Yeah.
those are the things that really keep us going in those times. So
yeah,
I think
well,
that's
I
cool
wasn't
you
doing
did
anything
that.
else. So
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
may
I
as
mean, at
well.
least you turned toward like that
Yeah.
instead of like I don't
A
know.
lot
you
of
could've
people did
turned
the
a lot
opposite,
of other
right?
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
you know that there's a lot on your part on those decisions that
Yeah.
And have you been able to go back to Australia since?
I went
Or have you returned?
back once just for like a month, like maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Um, it was kind of more like I guess I call it the farewell tour,
Aw.
because like back before I left for the States, I was 17, and so I was telling all my friends like, yeah, I'll be back before like for my 18th. And in 18, yeah, you can drink, you can do all this stuff. You're an adult in Australia. I wouldn't say I did drink or I would drink. I don't. But it was like my friends, like it's a huge like celebration to be turning 18 back home. It's like a 21st year, I guess.
Okay.
And so I was telling my friends, yeah, we'll throw like this massive party. It'll be 18. It'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun. Um, and then I'm coming back to Australia at the age of 20. And I'm seeing all my friends, just catching up. And it's really more just like hey, nice to see you again. I'm sorry I left for 4 years and didn't come back. But
Bye
bye.
now.
I'm
years.
going back to America. I have a life here now. So
Yeah.
nice to see you.
American
Goodbye.
politician.
I
Once
know.
was Australian.
Yeah, so I've been able to go back. I'm planning to go back maybe in a couple other years, but it's,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, considering how long you've spent in America without family and the friends that you grew up with, and
Mhm.
how kind of during COVID it was a lot alone, and then you made the group that you did with TikTok, but now you've kind of even like outgrown that, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you think now that you're able to kind of still prioritize the gospel in your life when you don't have maybe that, like the family to back up on, like some of us have that are close and,
Mhm.
easy to go to church with them or talk to them about these things, or the the TikTok group that you once had that maybe you don't anymore. So like, how do you still prioritize the gospel now in your life, the way that
Yeah.
it's developed?
I mean, I just like I've always known it as like a good community. And when I was living in South Carolina for the past year, I literally was at ground base. I didn't have any friends with me, didn't have any family with me. I was in a brand new state. And all my colleagues were in like their 40s, 50s, 60s, so it's like I could hang out with them on the weekend. And so I would go to church. I found the local YSA ward, and I just did all the activities. I went to Institute, I went to Family Home Evening, I went to church every Sunday, primarily just for that sense of community, but also because it was just what I wanted. And if I didn't do it, then I would lose, I guess, that purpose.
Mhm.
Um, and like I'm terrible at reading my scriptures, like absolutely the worst. And so I know I can't really rely on myself to read the scriptures daily, let alone maybe weekly. So I go to church and I do the activities that my YSA ward has. Um, and yeah, so when I first moved to South Carolina, one of the very first things I did was reach out to the family ward, and I was like, "Hey, I'm a brand new person in the state. I'm trying to look for like a ward to go to," and they recommended me to the YSA ward, and that YSA ward introduced me to someone who could take me there before I got my car.
Mm,
Um, and so it was just the sense of community is really what
yeah,
keeps me together.
it's definitely a benefit whenever you go to a new place.
Yeah.
That if you're brave enough to make the initial step, then there's a community there.
And I think like one thing that I love about the church is it's the same everywhere. And like jumping all the way back to when I was in France, I had the opportunity to see the temple dedication, like the Paris temple dedication,
Oh,
in
cool.
like the stake center in Bordeaux because I was down that region.
Mhm.
And yeah, even then I remember because I didn't have like Wi-Fi or service on my phone, but I remember going to the church and I got a text from my dad. I was like, how did
Mm.
oh, even the Wi-Fi is the same.
Oh.
Like the Wi-Fi password and the Wi-Fi is the same even in France, like a completely different country. So like when we say like the church is the same everywhere in the world, I'm not even kidding. It is the same.
Yeah.
And so that's why I just love about it, because I know what I'm expecting, and it's not like walking into like, oh, I don't know what this church is going to be like. I don't know what this sacrament meeting is going to be like,
Mhm.
because I know
Mhm.
it's the same.
Right. Like even though the cultures like surrounding the faith are different, you
Mhm.
can still feel like you have a community to go back to.
Yeah.
That's one thing I love about the church too,
Mhm.
honestly, is like being able to worship in a community where you feel, I mean, for the most part, where you should feel comfortable to
Mhm.
do so. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was just meant to be that way. Like we
Mhm.
need people in
Mhm.
order, like on this journey of faith, we just need that.
Right? Yeah. It's been a crazy, wild ride in my life, like I've said before, but
Yeah.
I just keep thugging it out.
I think that's so great, though. That's so great.
Like, just, yeah, like, throughout my life, even now, I'm still going through trials, and, like, when you think you could hit rock bottom, there's always a further rock bottom, and I'm
Under the rock.
definitely
There's lots of rocks.
definitely
Lots
experiencing
of
that, like,
rocks.
right now throughout my whole life, but I'm just, yeah, grateful for the church and the sense of community that makes those burdens a little lighter, and I'm grateful that Christ is with me always to also help make those burdens lighter, and, yeah,
Mhm.
just thug it out, just keep going forward, like, it'll work out in the end.
Yeah. Well, just keep on keeping on. And honestly, you've always got a family here at Saints Unscripted.
Yeah,
If you ever
thank
want to
you.
come back and join us again, we're always here for you. Or you could move on and you could start your own YouTube channel too
Yeah,
if you're
we would
vibing
love
that. We'd support. Yep. We're going to link that when that happens in the future.
It's not
So-
gonna happen.
All right, Caleb. Well, we love you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks
We
for
love
letting
you
me come
guys.
back. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. We'll see you
Woo.
next time.